Hey everybody, Jason with Mark Twain Lake Fishing Intel. Today we got a great guest. We got Jessica, the Monroe County Conservation Agent here at Mark Twain Lake, and she's going to go over some fishing regulations and all that good stuff to keep everybody informed on all that. And we're going to start out with the daily limits for the fish species here at Mark Twain Lake, and then we'll get into some other stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
All right, hey guys, like you said, I'm Jessica. I'm the Monroe County Conservation Agent. So we're going to talk about the daily limits and length limits on the lake. If you go to a lot of the big ramps and even some of the smaller ones, they'll have a board with the rules and regulations on them. So if you don't remember what I say, at least check the board before you go out. So let's talk about kind of some of the main fish that people go after. So largemouth bass, white bass, crappie, and walleye are some, pull and line fish. I remember this kind of by the rule of 15. So you can have 15 crappie, you can have 15 white bass, largemouth bass have to be 15 inches, and then walleye also have to be 15 inches. So if you remember kind of the rule of 15 for a lot of the species here on the lake, that'll help you out. So 15 crappie, 15 white bass, 15 inches for largemouth bass, 15 inches for walleye. For largemouth or black bass, it's 6. You can have 6 of them. For walleye, you can have 4 of them. So just check out the board before you go out. It's all listed there. Take a picture of it. That way you have it out on the lake. For catfish, so we have, 3 main species of catfish: blue cats, channel cats, and flathead. Blue cats and flatheads recently have the new length limit. I mean, it's 2 or 3 years old by now, but length limit on those species is 26 inches minimum. So 26 inches is measured from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, and you can squeeze the tail fins together. That usually gives you another 1/4 inch if you do that, but spread it out, measure it on your measuring board there, and that's for flatheads and blue cats. For channel cats, there's no length limit, so you can keep whatever size of those you want. When it comes to those, there's another paper on the board that kind of helps you decide what they are. Channel cats are usually smaller. They have black speckles along their belly. Their anal fin, which is this little thin fin, not the tail fin, but that little fin there, is curved, so it's rounded. If you get a blue cat, it's going to be straight. So imagine their head is got a big angle and their anal fin has another big angle there. So channel cats is curved, blue cats is straight. Blue cats do not have that speckling. And then if you really want to know, if you're really not sure, because sometimes channel cats can get big, you can count those fins on that anal fin, or those rays on that anal fin. So if it has 24 to 29 rays, it's a channel cat. If it's got 30 or more, it's a blue cat. So if I want to convince somebody they have a blue cat, or if they have a channel cat, I'll always count those out and explain that to them as well. So, but yep, flatheads and blue cats have the length limit. Channel cats do not. So just remember that when you're out there.
Cool. So let's get into the catfish regulations on the limb lines and the trout lines and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we just talked about catfish. Another way people rod and reel fish for them as well. But another thing is trot lines, limb lines, jug lines, any sort of lines that you leave in the water. So those need to be labeled with your name, full name, and address. So full name, Jessica Eckelkamp. Label it with that, and then my full address. Put that on there, or you can do your conservation number. So conservation number is on all your permits. It's on your deer permits, your fishing license. It's on your app. Find that conservation number, and you could just put that on there. So if you don't want to write your full name and full address, put that number on there, and you'd be good to go. That needs to be on all. If you have 15 jugs, it's got to be on all 15 of those, with a durable material. So either a tag. A lot of people use those copper trap tags. Attach that to the line, or write it with a Sharpie. But if you write it with a Sharpie or a permanent marker, make sure that it's, if you set lines Memorial Weekend and you're going to go back out 2 weeks later, check those lines before you go back out there. They like to rub off the the bank poles and they like to rub off the jug lines because they're constantly in the water. So write your full name and address or conservation number on all of those lines. And also you can have 33 hooks. So I can have 33 hooks when I'm out here in my name, and then Jason could have 33 hooks with his name. We can run all 66 together, but if I'm going to run lines one morning by myself and he's going to run one morning by himself, we can only have 33 together, and they have to be labeled with both of our names. That way, if he's running the line, his name's on it, and if I'm running the line, my name's on it. So just, if you're going to be the one running the line, make sure your name is on there, full name and full address. Back to catfish a little bit, we talked about length limits, but daily limit, it's 5 flathead catfish, 5 blue cat, and 10 channel cat. And for any species of fish, the possession limit is twice the daily limit. So if I catch 5 flathead catfish one day and 5 the next day, I am at my possession limit. So 5 twice the daily limit of 5 is 10. That is the possession limit of flathead catfish. So, and any fish is twice the daily limit.
Let's talk about the catch and release and the culling regulations that we have here on Mark Twain Lake, if you want to get into that for us.
Yeah. So for every species, you can catch and release all day if you want. You can keep fish all day if you want, as long as you don't exceed your limit. But you do have to be mindful. You can keep fishing. You reach your 15, you can keep fishing, right? So you have 15 in your live well, you don't have to stop. If say you're fishing for crappie, you catch your 15, you don't have to stop. You can keep fishing, but what you cannot do is take your 16th fish and switch it out with a fish you have in your live well. You gotta make the decision once you catch a fish if you're gonna keep it or not, and then if it goes in your live well, it stays in there. And you can't really even, get to 14 and decide, okay, I'm going to keep my one fish here and then catch a 16-inch fish and switch it out for an 8-inch fish. So if you decide to keep one, it's got to stay in your live well, and that is in your possession. You have taken that into your possession and kept it. And that is for, to not harm the fish. Crappie aren't the most sturdy fish anyway, so make that decision and either decide to keep it or return it to the water unharmed immediately. The only exception for that rule really is bass tournaments. If it is a bona fide bass fishing tournament, they are allowed to swap out the fish. If they catch one and they catch a bigger one that'll help them win the tournament, they are allowed to swap them out. But all other species, you kind of have to make that decision when you catch it if you want to keep it or not. And that really comes into play that I see it the most with crappie fishing. I have checked people before that have a live well with 7 to 8-inch fish, and then they have a live well for their 10-inch plus fish. And once they catch one that's bigger that they want to keep, they throw one out of their other live well. So that's really not allowed. That's culling. You have to make the decision when you catch that fish.
All right, let's get into fishing license and life jackets now.
Yeah. So fishing license is probably the most important thing you need on the lake. Besides getting your boat ready, but if you're gonna spend the time to get your boat all rigged up and ready to go, you probably should have a fishing license. That is really important. So fishing licenses expire at the end of February. So you needed one March 1st, and now we are into April. So get that fishing license. Even if you're just going to throw a line in, we don't really know that. If I see somebody throw a line in, they need a fishing license. So get that fishing license. It's good until, like I said, February 28th. That'll have your conservation number and everything on it. Also, while we're talking about it, you're supposed to carry an ID with you, a photo ID of some sort. That way we can say, this is Jessica on the water. This is her fishing license. That is just to help us identify people. I mean, I could give my fishing license to someone and they could fish all day if they wanted, really, but you have to have a photo ID with you. For those that are over 65, Missouri residents over 65, that is how we tell that you're over 65. So you do not need a fishing license if you're a Missouri resident over 65, but in order for us to tell that, we need to look at your driver's license or a photo ID with your date of birth on it. So make sure you have that with you. And also make sure you have, life jackets for everybody on board. I'm not the water patrol, but I will make sure you have your life jackets. And if you don't, that is a violation. And that's only because of safety. We want people to be safe when on the water. So a life jacket for everyone, a throwable in the boat, and life jackets need to be accessible. So make sure they're out either on your seat or on your body or somewhere that if something were to happen, you can grab it really quickly and put it on.
Well, that's great information from Jessica, your Monroe County agent here at Mark Twain Lake. And you want to give out your phone number in case anybody needs to get a hold of you?
Yep. So you can call me at any time. I have a work cell phone number, and that is 660-651-0218. So that's for my work phone number. I carry it with me like my cell phone, 660-651-0218. There is a local agent in every county, so you can find all those numbers on our website at mdc.mo.gov, local contacts.
Sweet. So thanks for joining us here at Mark Twain Lake Fishing Intel. Hope everybody finds this very informative, and stay tuned for the next video and check out all the great fishing reports we have on the website. Y'all have a great day.